This is John Ward, welcoming you to another presentation of Tennessee football on home video. The story you're about to see unfold is one of adventure and achievement. It's the story of teamwork, commitment, and the will to win.
Doesn't need a lot of... Oh! He took a weapon!
All right, y'all. Welcome back and happy Wednesday. We got a couple things to talk about today. Danny White's talking about expanding Neyland Stadium. I'm going to give my thoughts. And if there's anybody that's joining us right now, I want to get y'all's thoughts too. This is a different time, or like it's a different window than we typically do our live streams on. But I figured, man, you know, people might be taking their lunch breaks later sometimes. Maybe y'all wanted to join us in this window. So we'll see how this one goes. But also with, obviously, man, we're playing up against a team this weekend. I've given my thoughts on it that Tennessee should really be able to dominate. So I want to kind of like look ahead. We've already started to peek ahead to Florida, but I've watched some film on them. I've watched more film on them, and I've got like my real true opening thoughts for this week. And with those opening thoughts, I want to share what I think Tennessee needs to be looking for, like the staff and what I'm looking for from our team to see, are we going to be ready to play up against Florida, to see, can we go out and win the game and be dominant, which I think Tennessee has a chance to be dominant in beating Florida down in the swamp, but also beating Vanderbilt at home. I'm really not too concerned about the games, but there are some things that, just based off what we've done so far this year, that I feel like Tennessee has to show as much as possible in this game this weekend that we can do moving forward for us to have that chance. But if you are joining us, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we are going to go on ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about, y'all, is with the stadium expansion, right? So just making Neyland bigger. So I'm sure that most of y'all have already seen this. But Danny White, he came to social media. He wrote a letter to Tennessee fans saying we've got about 27,000 season ticket holders, which is a huge deal. But he was also talking about they've been basically like looking at the north end zone, and they're thinking about adding some seats to it. Some people might not like this. That's why I'm pretty curious to see what y'all have to say about it. I'm a pretty like glass half full kind of person, so I don't necessarily focus on what could be negative about something. I'm looking at more of like what's going to be positive with it. I see a lot of positives coming from this. Now, what you're looking at currently, for those of y'all that haven't already seen this picture, it's kind of old at this point, but this is like an AI rendering of Neyland Stadium with that third deck. If we are going to add some seats, it doesn't mean it's going to be a full deck. I would love it, though, if that's the case, because if the stadium keeps on going up vertically, it means that the sound can stay inside of the stadium. Makes it more like a bowl. So that's something that, you know, I would love for, obviously, man, like just several reasons. But number one is just because it's tough to play inside of a stadium that's super loud. I think that Tennessee, at its peak, held, was it 108,000? I mean, I could be off on that, but it felt like it was always us in Michigan going back and forth for who has the biggest stadium. And I would love to just have like 120,000. So just like with this picture, to me, what it looks like is maybe another 10, maybe another 20,000. I don't know how all that works, but with one more deck, at least just on that side, you could add a whole lot of seats. But part of the reason that people are saying that Neyland hasn't been as loud, like we talked about it versus Georgia, some versus Arkansas, is they're saying that, well, the ticket prices are just too high. I think that if you can add this many more seats, then the average ticket price should come down enough where it's not that big of a deal. So from like a finances standpoint, it could help the fans out, but it also helps out the university in being able to make more money, because with 10, 20,000 more seats, even if they're on average cheaper, you're going to make more money just off of the ticket sales. But then parking, people got to eat, people got to, you know, drink stuff and all, you know, everything. So I think that it could be positive from all those standpoints. But also, like, kids love, the high school kids, the guys that are playing in college currently, like transfer portal players, knowing that a stadium is going to be this big, this loud, people want to come play for that, and they might take a discount to be a part of that. We know that our schedule is going to be getting tougher next year, the season after that, so on and so forth, just like forever. 9 SEC games, with I guess like half of those being played at home. I think one year is going to be 5 games at home, the other year is going to be 4 games. But having a stadium that's rocking like this, the playoffs is going to go to like 16 games, I'm sure, probably next season. So having some home playoff games with a stadium like this, which I love Neyland now, I just think that it can be better. I mean, like, we can upgrade everything, and obviously we have the resources to get that done, or Danny White wouldn't come out publicly even talking about it. It's something that they've really thought about. I think if there's a good like if there's no real pushback from the fan base, I think that we might actually make this move. I think that we might try to make it pretty soon. How long will something like this take? I don't know, because like I said, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea how many more seats they want to add at this point. But I would most definitely, I would try to make it as big as we possibly can. All right, so this right here, I'm not sure what the first one said. All right, so yeah, so saying that Neyland is big enough, making it bigger will raise costs. I disagree with that. How would making it bigger raise costs? I'm just curious, because you have more people that can come to the games. Wouldn't that mean that the costs go down? What is that raising costs for? So what I'm saying, like I'm just curious in how you're seeing it. All right, so this one's saying building costs will raise ticket prices. Maybe it will make them cheaper way in the future, but we can't fill the stadium as it is. I think that we've sold out every game for like, how many years have we sold out games? I feel like it feels like we've sold out every game for like the past few years, bro. I don't know that that's true what you're saying. And then also maybe what stadium costs, you think that I'll raise ticket prices? I don't think people realize how much money Tennessee has. Like, let me just say, I don't think people fully, and you could be right on that, but my understanding is that if anything, it would probably, I feel like it would probably lower the ticket. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we've already had raised the ticket prices to get the extra little bit of funds to start the groundwork on getting this done. But as we talked about with like NIL and all of that, these boosters and these donors that got all that money that want to dedicate it to something at Tennessee, mostly to our football team, they really can't give it to the players. So this might be their own way of, hey man, like we'll donate however much money. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll raise up those funds necessary for that to happen. Now maybe I'm totally off on that, but I don't think that it's going to raise the ticket prices too much. And like you also talked about, long term, it could be very beneficial. Sometimes you gotta, give and take. So actually saying that the same people saying that Neyland shouldn't be any bigger are the same old heads. So, yeah. And you know what? And you could be right on that. I don't know if I think that's everybody inside of one group. It's probably some younger people that don't want it to get bigger, but yeah, I don't really care about the jersey thing either. It just doesn't bother me, man. It really, really, really doesn't. I would actually like to know why it bothers the people that it does bother, because I don't see anything wrong with that. Like if the kids like it, then if the kids want to come play in whatever types of jerseys, and I'm for whatever types of jerseys, doesn't matter. I'm just about winning, baby. That's it. I'm very bottom line. I'm also very like easygoing. So it takes certain things will set me off, but those aren't like on my list of things personally. It doesn't make you wrong if you see it differently. All right, so Dylan, what's going on, bro? Saying honestly, the party deck thing was a dumb idea. Pulled up a ton of seats for that alone. So I haven't seen that, and I don't really even know exactly what that is. I guess it's supposed to maybe make the games more fun from like the little bit that I did read. I don't know, but yeah, I know that we lost some seats from it. So maybe you can have that and then add this extra deck, and then you get like the best of all worlds. That's just me, man. Like I'm all for the bigger stadium. So let me get to this next one. From Dylan also saying that Vandy sold out, and that's 2 weeks out. Yeah, I don't remember the last time that we haven't sold out a home game. It feels like I read something that we had sold out home games since what, like 2022 or something, or since 2023. It was something like that. Timmy G, what's going on, bro? Saying that we've sold out Neyland for the past 27 home games. Okay, yeah. There are 27,000 people on the waiting list for tickets. Yeah, so that's about what I thought. So Ten Vols is saying that for the Neyland renovations, that just because they add more seats doesn't mean the school will make the seats cheaper. College football is all about money. That is true too. Now that is true. It doesn't mean that just because they're adding more seats that it will get cheaper. I'm just saying that is a way for it, like in theory, where it can get cheaper because you are adding more seats. So you could technically, like, they know they have all the numbers crunched out and how much they want to be able to make off of the ticket sales and off of the merchandise and so on and so forth. I would just think that from a very basic level of logic, that if you can add more, then you can go down on the prices and still hit all the numbers that you want to hit. But like you said, things are all about money. So maybe they keep the ticket prices at the like same level. I don't know. But I would think that the ones that are way up, maybe it's going to be like the same everywhere else. But the ones that are way up, those should be cheaper just because they're so high up. I don't know if they'll be like the best seats to watch the game from. I've watched some games at Neyland up in the upper deck before. And it is, for me, like I don't like heights. So it is a little bit uneasy, but once I get into the game, I'm really not too much thinking about that type of stuff. Dylan, he's saying that he's down for 5 decks, build a Coliseum in Knoxville. That would be crazy, bro. All right, so Tim Vols is saying that one of the best points I've seen made was the one Bull made about the ticket prices being so expensive that white-collar fans aren't the only ones going, so the stadium isn't loud. Never at Neyland. Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way, obviously, which is kind of why we'll see, because I do feel like they're probably going to end up moving forward with this. We'll probably hear some more things about it coming out at some point. But I would love to hear what the overall thought process is. And how many are they thinking about adding? You know, it might not be enough where it's going to make that big of a difference as far as being able to bring down the average ticket prices. But that's just me, I guess, being optimistic about how it might play out. All right. Sold out doesn't mean seats filled. Look at the stadium during the game is full for the biggest games, but not for the others. Oh, okay. I don't know. So that's something that like, I don't really pay too much attention to, like when I'm watching the games, honestly speaking, but I haven't noticed it. I feel like it would have stood out to me if it was from like the TV copy. Hey, there's not enough, or, you know, we're not filling up all the seats. I think some of it might be people going to get maybe something to drink or something to eat, but I haven't been to Neyland lately, so I can't tell you. You know, if you've been there, then y'all would know a lot better than I would. Mike is saying that you're definitely easygoing, Bull, except when going live after show. Yeah, man, that's a fact. So Scott saying that this day and time, if you don't improve, you will fall behind. I think that that's true. Okay, we're gonna get to a couple more, and then we're gonna try to get on to the next part of this. So from Scott, he's saying that future bowl games in Knoxville. Yeah, I mean, future bowl. I mean, hopefully we're talking about future playoff bowl games, because I don't want nobody playing inside of Neyland unless it's us. But, and maybe you're saying that this is something that you know for a fact that we're talking about doing. That's something that I personally missed. But what if we could use Neyland for teams to play bowl games? I mean, that's kind of like a wild thought. Obviously, we make a lot of money off of that, like a ton of money off of that, which would help out with several things for our program. But also, people get to see Neyland more. People like, you know, watching it. Oh man, that's a really nice stadium. You know, whose stadium is that? Might be somebody who just doesn't know. I would love to go play in that. You know, so I think that it could be good from that standpoint. We see it with NFL teams, obviously, all the time. But yeah, that would be very interesting. So this right here from Dylan is saying that you've also got to think about it from an entertainment perspective. More seats equals more concerts, comedians, etc. That's a fact too. That's true too. Okay. So I'm going to move forward, and actually first, let me check on this poll and just see where it's at. So I got 86% that are saying that they are in favor of Neyland getting bigger, of adding more seats to Neyland Stadium, and then there's 14% that say no. Like I said, man, look, I don't think that anybody's necessarily right or wrong. I see things the way that I see it. Danny White's going to do what's best for Tennessee. But let's look ahead, man. Some early thoughts on Florida, because like I said, I've been watching film on them. We put some clips out earlier today. Florida's backup quarterback, who I don't know if he's going to be starting this weekend versus Ole Miss, and I think that we want Florida to beat Ole Miss. That's just what I do. I want to, because every time that Ole Miss is beating the team that Tennessee plays on the following week, right, we always lose to them, and also it would help Tennessee's strength of schedule out. Like, I mean, there is still a very small possibility, very small chance that we can make it to the college football playoffs if everything goes well. But I think that would be like one of the first things is, hey, if Florida beats Ole Miss and Tennessee beats Florida, makes that win look a little bit better. But yeah, we put out the film breakdown of Florida's backup quarterback and every dropback that he had last weekend. So he played for, I think, like the whole second half. So I think he went like 9 of 17 or whatever. But yeah, put that out for all the members. So I have been taking a look at Florida, but these are the things that I'm noticing from their offense. Number one, especially since Billy Napier left, their offense it's pretty simple. It's not as much pre-snap movement. There is pre-snap movement, but before with Napier, it was so many shifts and motions that they would change their look I'd say about 3 to 4 times, like before every snap on average. Like they changed up stuff a lot, and that puts a lot of stress on your defense. But also, like with their route concepts and combinations, it was just a lot more complicated than what it is right now. It's just pretty basic. So I think that that plays into Tennessee's hand from top to bottom. Now, as we touched on, like with their quarterbacks, it's not just Lagway, which Lagway, we all know he's a great talent, very, very talented. But the backup, Jones, he's very talented too. Like when he's playing with confidence, he can do a lot of good things, but their operation hasn't been very good. It's been, I would call it average, and that's really more so with Lagway over like the course of the year. I could call it average. He's had some terrible games. He's made some terrible throws, some terrible reads, but he's also just done some incredible stuff. So we know that it's in both of those guys. As far as their running backs, I say that they're like prototype NFL guys. I mean, good size, good speed, good balance, good vision. Number 13 is going to be one of the best running backs that Tennessee's seen all season. I think that number 4 for Arkansas might be the overall best guy just from the way that I see it. Like a big guy that's fast, that can move, so on and so forth. Just has everything that you're looking for. But yeah, I would say the 13, he's like in that same ilk. Their offensive line is spotty. I've seen them do some great things. I've seen them look terrible. You just don't know what you're going to get. And I think that their tight ends are pretty average. They're not, they've got guys with some good talent, but I've seen them dropping passes. I've seen them running some okay routes. They'll utilize them down the field. But as far as blocking, bro, I mean, we should have a freaking field day. We should have an absolute and total field day if they try to block our defensive ends. So what Tennessee needs to show me, what I think that they need to show the staff or what the staff should be looking for in the game this weekend are some dominant defensive tackles. One of the things about Florida's running game, they do a lot of double teams. Our defensive tackles have gotten moved, versus those double teams. Way too much. So they're going to have to, I think that the most stress on our defense is with our defensive tackles versus Florida. I don't give a damn who it is, y'all. I really don't. I don't care if it's a senior, if it's a freshman, if it's somebody that's played 100 games back to back to back, or someone who hasn't played any. The best guys have got to play. Period, point blank. We got to find the best dudes. And we need to find several of them because they'll probably end up getting tired. So have to do that. Our defensive ends have to be relentless with their pass rush. What I saw last week is that, Florida, they struggle with some defensive ends that they, might have had them blocked to start some things off, but they kept on pushing, and it ultimately turned into some pressures, turned into some turnovers or some sacks. Our defensive end showed that for like the first half of the season as teams started to do more quick game stuff, and we weren't getting home. I have started to see it where they'll push and push, but then like it's like a first and a second effort, but where's the third effort? Where's the fourth effort? We got to get back to that, and we got to put the people out there who are going to do that. Just period, point blank. Our linebackers have to play downhill. And the reason that I'm saying that is because our defensive tackles getting double teamed leaves our linebackers clean. It doesn't mean that, hey, you're not reading your keys. You got to read your keys, but once you see the hole, you got to get through it right now. Like, you got to get downhill. It should be a good game for all of our backers, I think. It's not going to be a whole lot of space stuff. It's going to be some of it, but not as much as what it would have been with Coach Napier. It's not going to be as much of that. Or maybe they'll try to do more of it because that's one of our weaknesses. I don't know, but I would just say this: getting downhill, we can blow some things up in their running game. All right, linebackers getting downhill, that's going to be huge. And then just the secondary has to be disciplined, right? Which is fundamental type stuff. So in coverage, whether it's man, whether it's zone, the proper leverage, getting to the proper depth, being in the proper areas, because you don't have to absolutely glue on to the people, because especially versus the backup quarterback, just be in a spot that makes him not want to throw that, okay, and make him check it down or whatever. That's pretty much all that we have to do, and then just getting off blocks and making good sound fundamental tackles. That's what we're looking for this weekend from those guys. And more people need to play. More of the secondary players, they need to see the field because we need more depth. I've said it several times, and I'm not trying to pick on Boo, but I don't think that he's going to be – I don't know that he's going to play on defense or at all moving forward. We don't have a backup star right now. We got to go find one. So we got to find that this week. But this is like my key of what I'm looking for from our defense and what I think the staff should be looking for. So let me tap back into the chat real quick because I see that there's several coming in. I want to get to y'all's thoughts. This one from Daniel saying bowl games are through with the playoffs. Bowl games are through with the playoffs. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. So I know that there are some bowl games that are part of the playoffs. Are you saying that bowl games will be over with by the playoffs? Is that what you're saying? You could be right on that. I don't know. For some reason, I can't think of the exact dates of all those. But yeah, that does sound like that's right. All right. So this one right here from Tony. He said that Danny White only cares about huge boosters. He doesn't care about the common fan. I go to Neyland every year. Empty seats all around the stadium. The wine and cheese crowd. Okay. So yeah, if that's the case, then obviously that's not good. That wouldn't be good if people aren't showing up to the games. So actually saying that Florida also has Harrison Bailey on the roster would be wild to see him facing the Vols. I was really high on I was really high on Harrison Bailey coming out of high school. I thought that he would pan out better than he did. Now he didn't. I think that he came into a really bad offense once he got here, and then him moving around so much didn't help him out. Probably didn't help with his confidence. But watching him playing at, I think that he was at Marietta. There was another guy at Marietta that I really liked too. Might have been a wide receiver or something. But I thought that he would be good. I'm not afraid of Harrison Bailey personally. But I guess you just, the staff and the players, they had the game plan for everybody just because you never know. So William, cheese is orange. Yeah. So I guess he's making a comment about the what did he say here? The cheese and crackers crowd or whatever he said. But J Pat, what's going on, bro? FUGA all day, every day. Dylan, he's saying that he thinks that we'll play more 4-3 with Boost. Or he's asking, do I think that we'll play more 4-3 with Boost sitting out? Seems like the right move with guys like Prelati in waiting. I think so. I actually think that versus Florida, you might be able to get away with. And I think that for the rest of the year, that's a really good point. For the rest of the year, we might be able to get away with that. The only problem, though, is that sometimes our linebackers will have to cover some really fast wide receivers for Florida down the field. That concerns me some, but definitely versus Vanderbilt. I don't even why would you even go to a nickel? Just stay in a 4-3. There's absolutely no point. And the crazier thing about Vandy is that it feels like they're more of a run-first team, but if you look at the numbers, they actually pass the football more than they run it, but everything sets up off of the run. But yeah, I think that it's something that we can definitely do. But even still, for next year, we got to find some stars. And those young guys need to play. If you want to hold on to them, you better let them play. And you better give them a real shot. You know what I mean? All right, so J-Pat is saying, make Shady not happy with his choice. Yeah, man. I was actually thinking about Shady earlier today. I was just thinking about him. I wonder if he will want to come on home. You know what I'm saying? Make that flip, because that set Tennessee back from a safety standpoint as well with him flipping, because we were anticipating. I think that he probably would have started for us. But yeah, that definitely set us back. And I don't know what all he's done this season. I haven't even really gone through to check him out. But I would say that I would love to have him. If he's not playing at safety, he can play at linebacker. You know what I mean? He is a versatile athlete. I'm still a fan of him. You know what I mean? So from Ashley saying that Harrison Bailey was throwing to Eric Gilbert that's right. Yep. Exactly right. So Dylan Elam saying that Harrison Bailey and Todd Simpson are a lot alike, only difference is coaching. Yeah. Harrison Bailey, for me, he's just so much bigger. He's 6'5" or 6'6" or something. And I think that Todd Simpson is 6'1" or 6'2". Harrison Bailey, to me, is more of a true pocket passer. I look at Todd Simpson as a guy who really fits the NFL mold, where pocket passer, but he can also run. So I think that he's got more upside from that standpoint. But maybe in some ways, as far as, I'm not quite sure what you're getting at there. Maybe with them both being highly rated coming out of high school, both kind of being more pro style quarterbacks. Yep. All right, so Matt SS is saying, what's going on, Matt? Saying that I thought about Hayward today also. And yeah, man, that would be great. Okay, let me move forward, y'all, and then I'm gonna get right back to the chat. So as far as what I've seen from Florida's defense, they can run multiple fronts. We said this about them every single year, but it's just because of the players that they brought in. Any front that you could think of, if it's a 2-4-5, if it's a 3-3-5, if it's a 3-2-6, if it's a 2-3-6, you know what I mean? If it's a 4-man front, 5-man front, they've got so many different body types that they can do it all. They like to run a lot of 2 high safety looks. So we'll talk about what that means here some more in just a second. But Tyreek Sapp, number 94, is Warren Sapp's nephew or cousin, or they kin some type of way. He is elite. Okay, I think he's going to be the best defensive lineman, just like the best single defensive lineman that we've seen so far this season. He's a real dude. With the too high safety looks, typically you want to be able to run on that. And teams haven't, in some sports, obviously teams have done well running the football on Florida's defense. But I would say on average, teams they do a pretty good job of stopping a run with two deep safeties. And Tyreek Sapp is almost like by himself a huge reason for that. He's making a lot of plays by himself. So their linebackers, I would call them spotty, just like their offensive line. They got one guy, I think he's number 20-something. He looks good playing at backer. He can cover, does a good job getting to his fits and getting off blocks and all of that. But number 5, he's the guy that you want to try to target him down the field. You want to try to run at him. Misdirection messes him up. And I could go, you could just keep on going all the way down the list of their linebackers. It's like, well, one is good and then the other one's kind of spotty, But I think that their secondary is good. I think that it helps the way that they play, having two safeties over the top most of the time. Their cornerbacks can come up, be physical, but they're really good athletes. They're safeties. They make good plays on the football. And I would say that so far I've seen several loafs, especially here recently, from their defense. And a loaf is just a play that you're kind of taking off. It's not full speed effort from snap to whistle, which is what it's supposed to be. But, breaking down film with your coaches in high school and in college, it's typically called loafs. So that's why I'm calling it that there. Now, as far as our offense, what I'm looking for is body movers. That's with the offensive line. We got to find guys that will move bodies. We have to play our best 5. And I've said it here since David Sanders started playing, since he started at right tackle, that I think that the offensive line has taken a few steps back. It's going to take them some time to gel. I don't think that we've gelled as quickly as I wanted us to. I think that you have to just kind of look at that if you're on the coaching staff. Jesse Perry at right tackle, I think he's a little bit better at the point of contact. I think he holds on just a little bit better. And I think that he takes a few steps back once he moves over playing at guard, So I think that we might have a better offensive line if Jesse Perry is our starting right tackle. But it's going to be a huge game for both of our tackles. I think for David Sanders, we talked about Sapp, he's a guy that he's a defensive end in a 3-man front. So his hand is down in the dirt, or if it's a 4-man front and he's more of a real true edge rusher, or he could be a stand-up rusher. He can come from a lot of different spots, but it's mostly going to be targeting our offensive tackles. I think that David Sanders is going to have his hands full. All of our tackles will, but I'm curious to see how that matchup looks. I want to see our offensive linemen moving bodies and being very dominant, excellent fundamentals, and just look pretty much perfect, right? But definitely need some body moves. We've got to be able to run on a 2 deep safety look. We got to be able to do that consistently. Also, we need smart quarterback play, because with 2 deep safeties, what it means is the stuff down the field, like those vertical passes, especially outside the numbers, going to be tough to hit those. But even with post, it goes more deep to the middle. Going to be tough to hit those too. We cannot throw it up for grabs in double coverage. Not ever again for the rest of this year. Period, point blank. Just cannot have it. Period, point blank. Can't have that. So if it's single coverage, then yeah, I'm perfectly fine with just throwing it up. But if it's double coverage, you just can't do it. So we're going to have to also do a good job from a play calling standpoint. And I want to see some of that coming up on Saturday, of some real true route concepts and combinations to run things off and to be able to target the middle of a daggum defense, because versus a 2 deep safety look, the middle is open passing wise, but we have to hit them. Also have to be smart with our reads within the RPO game. With 2 deep safeties, it's going to be a whole lot of, hey, we can run it here or we can pass it if the safety comes down later, whatever. But we haven't been very crisp and very clean from that standpoint the past few games. Really, I would say for the latter half, for the second half of this season. That's got to get corrected immediately. So I'm going to be watching out for that. I don't think that the starters Joey Aguilar's he shouldn't play too much. Play for the first quarter. Get G-Mac out there. You know what I'm saying? Quick. And I want to see how he looks too. Now, as far as Tennessee's running backs, we got to get downhill. Again, 2 deep safeties. You got to be able to run right at that. Trying to be overly patient, which is what I've seen from our running game this season. Trying to do too much. Just, go downhill and get us 3 to 4 yards. Stop trying to break. And it's fun if you can do it. Stop trying to break all these 20, 30, 40-yard runs. Get to the second level first, and then if you can make it happen from there, then that's just gravy. But we have to do that. We got to take what's there. We got to be able to run the football so that we can maybe get them out of that 2 deep look, and then we can start to throw it down the field. And then we're going to have to find some tough catchers. That's definitely wide receivers, but it's also tight ends, and it's running backs. with two deep safeties, as we talked about. Throwing it down the field, you're probably not going to, you don't want to have to do that. You're not going to try to do that too much. But whenever you do, the windows are going to be pretty tight. Throwing it over the middle, we know that there's going to be safeties waiting on you, linebackers waiting on you, whoever waiting on you. Will you make the catch, hold on to the football after taking a freaking kill shot? We're going to need a whole lot of that. And then with their corners, with anything that's underneath, they play really physical. So we're going to have to throw some things that's maybe 10, 15 yards down the field or less than that on the outside type stuff. You got to make the catches with people hanging all over you some, So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think that's what the staff should be looking forward to as well. Now, let me get back to this chat, man. Let me see what y'all talking about. Let's see where we're at right here. So J-Pat, he's saying that Shady Flip hurt because he seemed like he was all vol. Then got a voice in the ear, a couple more dollars. Yeah, it's tough, man. It is tough. And I don't know if it was all just about money. Could have been. I don't know exactly what the situation was, but things like that happen sometimes, man. That's just kind of, it just is what it is. So this one's saying that if we lose to this Florida team I seen last week, there are major issues. Yeah, well, you know what? I think that you're right with what you're saying. The only problem with it is I've seen Florida be about this bad before, and we go down there and lose. Like in 2023, I don't think that Florida was this bad, but they weren't very good, and we went down there in a game that we definitely should have won, and we lost that one. It's happened for such a long time, but I do think that this is the season that we get over the hump. At least that's what I'm hoping. I'm still kind of early with the watching film and everything else. There's some more things that I got to go through. But, yeah, it's a game that is winnable for us. It shouldn't really matter where it's being played at. If we can take the air out of the sails early, so to speak, then I think that we might see them tap out. And that's what we want to do. Take away all their confidence early. It might take a little bit longer because, of course, they hate us. And they don't want to be the team that let Tennessee come down there and beat them after however many years, since 2003. So I think that we'll probably see them play hard for most of the game. So Heath is saying that praying that this game will be at 3:30. Yeah, I think that I don't want it to be a night game. I definitely don't want it to be a night game at all. Really, I wish it could be a noon game, to be honest with you. That's what I would love to see. So Alexander, the psychological hump that we have at the Swamp needs to be broken. 1,000%. It's definitely time for that. Dirty Higgins. What's going on, bro? Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us for sure. Seems like we say this about our routes every week. They seem to have, yeah, and that is so true. That is so true. It's just like, and really, you know what? I don't know if I could say it's been like that every week. Really, like versus Oklahoma, that's really when it was like, what the hell are we doing? Like, what could we be doing? And it might have been more of, maybe it was more just based off of the RPOs that we were running. I don't know, but you always have to give your quarterback some over the middle, some intermediate type of stuff. But it was for real. Like, I want to go back and look at the actual numbers for y'all and tell you what it was. It feels like about over 50% of our passing plays, everything was going downfield. And if it was a check down, it was a running back coming out late or a tight end coming out late. It wasn't real true, hey, you're going through reads. You can't operate like that. But you're exactly right. That last season, that's what we did. Really, that's what the offense was since Coach Heupel's been here, outside of the start of the season. So, yeah, I guess old habits die hard. But they need somebody who can check them on that, man. Like, you can't just let a whole game go by and you're barely running the football. Even if it is RPOs and we're not choosing to run it, someone's got to say, hey, coach, you might want to buzz in and tell Joey, hand this one off. You know what I'm saying? Like, hand it off. Or just take the tags off or whatever. But yeah, something needs to be done about that. And hopefully it looks a lot better moving forward. So Dirty Higgins also said, sorry if this is off topic, but I was wondering, is Moa good enough to start next year for us at safety? I think that he is. I do. Sorry about that. I'm gonna come right back to that. But yeah, I think that he is for sure. I think that Moa as a safety prospect is, I don't know when the last time is that we had, like, he reminds me a lot of, what was the kid's name? Jackson, who got in trouble here, but he played safety. I can't think of his first name. But he looks a lot like that to me on film. where it's just like, dude, he's a prototype safety. I don't think that sounds like he's going to get a start at wide receiver. I think he's going to be good there too. But my goodness, as a safety, he would be such a. I mean, he's got to me first round talent at safety. You know, some people are just like naturals. That's what he is. And yeah, I mean, y'all already know he was the #1 player on my personal big board early because I was like, dude, like we gotta upgrade at safety, and I was like, we found this one, and I didn't even think. I felt like Tennessee was going to do what it took to get him up on campus, but right now we just got to hold on to him. You know what I mean? All right, so this one right here saying that the 23 Florida game still gives me nightmares. Cherry on top was had in trying to box 3 defensive tackles after the game. Yeah, man. You know what? Sometimes you just got to laugh just to keep yourself from getting pissed off. But yeah, man, that's a game that Tennessee definitely should have won, and we just let it slip away. Can't do it this season. And don't go out there coaching scared, man. It's not rocket science. It's really not. We don't have to overcomplicate any of it on offense or defense. Just do basic level stuff. We are the better team. Just do whatever we are good at doing and just execute it well. Like I would come in, if I'm hyper, I'm talking to the whole damn team. Hey, look, we just want to know what y'all want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like we just want to get y'all's thoughts. Hey, offense, you know, y'all sit down and y'all come up with, hey, like these are our 10 favorite plays. Give me 5 runs, give me 5 passes. Defense, give me y'all's top 10 plays. What y'all like? You know what I'm saying? And let's just run a whole lot of that. That's really all we have to do. Get those kids juiced up, which they should already be juiced up, especially for that Florida game, but maybe add a little bit of extra juice in there. All right, so Heath is saying, okay, so if Brame can get some vertical work this week, yeah, man. Yeah, he should definitely be able to get some vertical work in this game. We should be able to, like, whatever look Tennessee wants to get, we can get it. We can get it. But Brame is a guy that I think you need to show him some love. And I don't want to be singling out players and stuff. Y'all know I don't like doing that. But I think that we do need to try to, at tight end, now that we're back fully healthy there, we can probably run some 12 personnel and be just fine. But, man, let's utilize some of our tight ends in the passing game. Because I think that Ethan Davis, Jack, and Brame have shown that they can be really more probably consistent pass catchers than what Miles Kitselman's shown. So I think that he needs to take a little bit of a step back from hey, we're going to target him passing football-wise and let those other guys take a step forward. That could help us out in a major, major way for sure. Because that's an element that we haven't, you know, I mean, we've seen some good parts of it, right? But it just hasn't been as consistent as we've wanted, at least as I've wanted. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So thank you, dog. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. To me, I think from like a physical standpoint, he looks a lot like that. But he could be even better, obviously, from a kind of like mental standpoint. You know what I mean? Not from like a mental smart standpoint, but from like where his headspace is at. Yeah, and I'm seeing that some other people kind of came down and saying the same thing. Okay, yeah. So right there, he's talking about Theo. Let me come back. I want Moa at safety instead of wide receiver. I do too, for selfish reasons. And I mean, I don't know what the staff, like I said, I think that they're probably going to start him off at wide receiver, but I don't know. Do they have some plans to maybe try over at safety some too? Which we got some good ones, man. I think that we got some good ones coming up. Yes, 100%. And so Jeffrey Lawson is saying that Neyland definitely needs to be expanding as much as possible. That's where I'm at. Like I'm okay with it, but I know that some people see it differently. So I'm gonna check on this poll one last time. So 86%, it's at the exact same spot. Did we get some more votes? Yeah, so we actually got more votes, but it stayed with the exact same. So that's probably a very small sample size, but I guess just like with our audience on this channel, about 86% of people want us to add more to Neyland Stadium. All right, so interesting stuff. Well, y'all, I hope to have a great rest of y'all's Wednesday. We're not going to be doing our chat tonight. We'll save that for next week. All right, so we'll have, hopefully, J-Pat, he's in here. Hopefully he can join us. Timmy G, he was with us earlier. Hopefully he can join us too. But Ruck from Straight Up Tennessee, we would love to, have him and just talk about what could be a really, really big week. And like I said, if Florida can beat Ole Miss, that helps us out. But then there's a lot of other games that I'm going to kind of like be quietly watching. I'm not going to get my hopes up too much and be just like rooting super hard for these teams to like lose. We need Texas to lose to Georgia. I know some people are saying, well, Texas can only lose 2 games and we can still jump them. I don't think that that's going to be mathematically possible, but we'll see how like the rest of the schedules play out. But I think that Texas would still get in because their strength of schedule or whatever would be higher than Tennessee. So as crazy as that sounds, I think that Texas has to lose out. But I ain't cheering for Georgia to win that game. I'm never cheering for Georgia in any circumstances ever. So that's gonna be one of the ones that I'm watching kind of like quietly. And if Texas does lose, it's like, all right, well, you know, maybe some other things went in Tennessee's favor. And if we have a good weekend, dude, it starts to get real serious. And I know that there are some thoughts about Mod. I think that if it looks like we can make it to the playoffs, I could see him potentially trying to come back. And I don't want to get people's hopes up now, okay? Because the chance of us making it to the playoffs is still very, very slim. But it could go up a lot after this weekend. All right, so I'm going to get to some more of these. Do we need wide receiver or safety? But it depends on what he wants. Yeah. I think that it probably does boil down to that more than anything, probably until he gets up on campus, and then might change up some, but you got to keep in mind, obviously, like with the portal, players could just tap out and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and hit the portal. So, yeah, you pretty much got to do almost what the players want. And he's a guy that he could play both ways. I mean, shoot, think about playing safety and wide receiver. That's crazy, but I think that he could do it. So, J-Pat, yes, sir. Yeah, y'all please do make sure to like and subscribe. I'm just going to get through these last chats. Thank you for that, bro. All right, so Neyland could easily be expanded with the whole upper third level doing the sky boxes from, yeah, I think so too. And that would add a lot of seats if we could do that. And MG Way, what's going on, bro? Saying he doesn't even like watching Georgia play. Hey, I feel you on that, dog. I'm the same way. Like, I don't like watching them play unless they getting beat, and I love every second of it. That's like the highlight of my season, which is crazy, but I can't freaking stand them. But anyway, y'all, look, thank y'all so much. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, just like J-Pad said. And we will be back, okay? We will be back probably tomorrow. Sorry to switch that screen on y'all, but we will be back probably tomorrow. We might have some things out for our members as well. But if you're watching this if you're watching this back, please do leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section, and we'll be talking to y'all then.